sides of a story. Both sides of a story. Knowledge is power. Class is in session, hour 106.
Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body in the service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. The National Pledge Song, and before that, a recitation of the National Pledge, most appropriate on a day today, nomination day for local government elections here in Jamaica. Please ignore those who are trying to take us back to a place which was so dark and desolate that we have no plans of going back to. Absolutely none. So for those who have other ideas of those dark days, we have long closed that chapter and that door. So either you are with us as a nation or you are against us. We're still in the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the Decade of Action for Road Safety, and the UN International Decade of Indigenous Languages. It's the 8th day of the second month of 2024. Heart Month and Reggae Month activities continue here in Jamaica and across the diaspora. It's also Black History Month in the USA, Canada, and observed here in Jamaica as well. It's Boy Scout Day in the USA, Culture Day in Slovenia, Youth Day in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Here in Jamaica this week, usually observed on or around this time as Inter-School Christian Fellowship Week, ISCF Week. It's also a Restorative Justice Week 2024. Hoy es jueves el 8 de febrero 2024 y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado, porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est jeudi le 8 février 2024 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être votre service par une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue. All we're saying is it's Thursday, the 8th of February, 2024, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. More in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
Easy, safe, this is the way. Bright futures ahead, so you have to save. Giant Bank makes saving easy.
Save so you can have a bright future with a Jane Bank Easy Save account. Big savings start small, and with a Jane Bank Easy Save account, you can start with just $200. Save for short-term goals, or develop a good savings habit to take you into the future.
Easy, safe, this is the way. Giant Bank makes saving easy.
A tip for safe and responsible gambling. Do you or someone you know have a gambling problem? Call Rise Life Management at 1-888-991-4146 and ask for help. A message from the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission.
Join JNN and Power 106 FM this Thursday, February 8th at 3 p.m. for a live discussion program hosted by Jody and Quarry as we engage young minds on the roles and responsibilities of local government. That's a live discussion on local government this nomination day exclusively on JNN and Power 106 FM.
Rest assured, we remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to both sides of the story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome. Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Morant Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point. This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those who have dialed a designated number to listen to Power 106 FM from the United States and the United Kingdom. If you're in the US and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, you can call 631 359 8281. 631 359 8281. If you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 0330 606 0953. 0330 606 0953. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook and the search box atop the page, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you too will be able to not just hear, but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. And we look forward, as usual, to your participation. After all, it is your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. And so we'll be taking your calls on 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number. You can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. As you've heard, it is nomination day for the local government elections here in Jamaica. And so far, so good. As we have said, there are those who have memories of time gone by, and they're looking to re-invoke those memories by actualizing them. That's not going to happen. We have moved on. We have moved on. Also, as you heard earlier on, there's a discussion program coming up at 3 o'clock, local government. The theme, empowering our youths for a better tomorrow. And that's scheduled for 3 o'clock this afternoon and will run for an hour, to be hosted by our colleague Jody Ann Quarry at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So you can listen out and get ready to receive the likes of Omolora Wilson, Guild President on the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies. Danielle Jordan Bailey, youth advocate with UNICEF. And Sandra Roden, political commentator. And a couple of guests via Zoom, Senator Gabriela Morris, president of the People's National Party's youth organization, PNPYO, alongside Zuki Jarrett, Deputy General Secretary of Young Jamaica, the JLP youth arm. So you can listen out for that. The segment one will feature the welcome and introduction, followed by an overview, and you will hear more as the program progresses. But right now, we look forward to hearing from you and your thoughts and ideas and questions and suggestions and issues. We want to hear from you right now. We've given you the numbers already. You should know them by now. 876-922-4112 to 5. 876-922-4112 to 5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Let's see if we can give you a quick look at how things have been going so far, especially if you've been too busy to pay attention to what's happening in the news. We're always happy to share with you information, updated, up to the time information from the Gleaner via their website, jamaica-gleaner.com. So here we go. Aspiring candidate rejected at Hanover Eastern Nomination Center. There was drama at the Sandy Bay Nomination Center in Hanover this morning after 40-year-old O'Keefe Gokul's application to run as an independent candidate was rejected. He was the first person to enter the center when it opened. And gave his address as Round Hill Estate in Hanover Eastern. However, his application was turned down by the returning officer and her team because his name was not on any voters list in the parish. After much debate, he claimed that the Constitution gives him the right to be nominated, but the returning officer advised him that his name has to be on a voters list for him to be nominated as a candidate. He was turned away and told to lodge his complaint with the Electoral Commission of Jamaica's regional office in Catherine Hall, Montego Bay, St. James. He left very upset, stating that this will not be the end of it. 3 Jamaica Labour Party candidates have been nominated. They are Kadeen Miles of the Chester Castle Division, Dervan Brown of the Hopewell Division, and Oraldo Anderson of the Sandy Bay Division. The People's National Party candidates are Winter McIntosh for Chester Castle, Lennox Frey for Hopewell, and the incumbent Deputy Mayor Andrea Dehenny Grant for Sandy Bay. So that's one of the election stories. Here comes another. JLP puts forward 4 first-timers in Portland Eastern. That's right. Here's the information. The governing Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, has put forward 4 first-timers for the 5 local government seats in Eastern Portland. All 5 candidates were nominated this morning. And as we continue to check out the other stories. Let's just stick with the election stories for the time being, the nomination day stories. This one says, councillor blames residents for deplorable state of Anota Bay Market. Councillor candidate for the Anota Bay division in St. Mary, Hugh Bryan, has pushed back against criticism about the state of the Anota Bay Market, saying the users should share some of the blame. The Jamaica Labour Party JLP representative is seeking re-election. Let's go to another of the election day stories. Independent candidates first out the gate in St. Catherine Northeastern. Let's see if we can give you a little more on that one. So the story is, independent candidates were the first to be nominated in St. Catherine Northeastern this morning. Heading the line was Minister of Religion Kenneth Harper, who's vying for the Mount Industry Division. And we continue to go through, thanks to the Gleaner for their coverage, which affords us the opportunity to share the stories with those who might not have heard just yet. And right, I think we have covered the nomination day stories so far, some of them. Let's see. Local government polls a referendum on wholeness administration, says Anderson. And Portmore promises is another of the stories. What are your thoughts? What are your ideas, your issues, your concerns? Feel free to message us, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And the regular call-in numbers, 876-922-4112-5. We see Miss June is listening as usual. Hermin June Lane, all the way from Norway. She says, greetings from Norway. Watching you live and direct on YouTube. You are looking good, she says. Generosity becomes you. Miss June, thank you very much. This one says, dear Mr. Dervan, please read 1 John 5, verse 19 and Revelations 12, verse 9 and explain what it means. Please, I would like all learners here and comment. God. Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Good afternoon, Ricardo in Glengoff, St. Catherine. Lorna Foster says, good afternoon, Sir Dervan and all your listeners at home and across the globe. Good afternoon, Lorna Foster. Faye Weller says, blessed afternoon, Mr. Dervan and faithful listeners. I'm here listening. Good to have you on board, Faye Weller. Nicola says, good afternoon, Dervan. Good afternoon to you and the family, Nicola. Good to hear from you all the way in central Jamaica. Velta Wilson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. Good afternoon, Velta Wilson. Thank you for tuning in. Norman Hines in St. Thomas is also on board, as usual. So too, Aston Gooden saying, good afternoon to you, my friend, Sir Dervan Malcolm. I'm still making an appeal about the roads in Jericho, Orange Field, Treadways, York Street, and the surrounding areas in Linstead, St. Catherine. These roads are in a deplorable state. We're doing a large demonstration until we see improvement on our roads. Aston Gooden, also known as DJ Aston from Jericho District, Linstead, St. Catherine. We certainly hope the local government authorities get around to your road, assuming it's a municipal corporation road as opposed to an NWA road. Cherry Henry is greeting us warmly. Good afternoon, Cherry Henry. Jessica says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. This is the day the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. So it is. Thank you very much for your message. 876-922-4112-5. The numbers to call. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And keep those comments coming in, keep those messages coming in. We're more than happy to hear from you on our various platforms. 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can also call us via WhatsApp. 876-365-3346. And it's a little quiet at the moment in terms of the general feedback. Perhaps the voters are in their respective modes and indeed moods, and eventually will emerge, we have no doubt. So on this nomination day, so far so good. Let's hope it stays that way. 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Professor Malcolm.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon
Carter.
to your listeners and your valuable callers.
Thank you on their behalf.
Mr. Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
Remember you about a journalist named Tucker Carlson?
Yes.
He's in serious problem with the West.
Really?
Yeah, he went away and did an interview with Vladimir Putin.
Oh, yes, I have it here on my phone, actually.
Yeah, a lot of European countries, they don't want him back there.
Sorry, say that again?
A lot of European countries, like France, Germany, European Union, they don't want Tucker Carlson back in their country.
Because he did the interview with Vladimir Putin?
Yeah, because even in America, they think he should be charged for treason. Mr. Malcolm. It's true. When I was a little boy, and my mother and father sent me to Sunday school. One of my favorite verses was, speak the truth and speak it ever, cause it what it will. He who hides the wrong, he does.
He did.
He did. Thank you, Professor.
Does the wrong thing still. Mm-hmm.
And the pastor would tell us that a lying lips is an abomination unto God. And one day I asked the pastor, what does abomination mean? And he says, a curse.
Mm-hmm.
That if it doesn't catch you, it might catch next generation.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the Bible, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So why are people having problem with the truth, Mr. Malcolm?
I think, again, it comes down to that three-letter word that I like to point to. Ego.
Ego.
Because
how dangerous is the ego, Mr. Malcolm?
Very dangerous, actually. Very dangerous, because we could do harm not just to ourselves, but also to others. So that then multiplies the problem.
And when you go find Ukraine, Zelensky just fired him commander-in-chief.
Mm-hmm.
And he got those orders from the West. Because Ukraine is now what they call a meat grinder. Mr. Malcolm, you know, in Ukraine, they're taking off young men between the age of 16 to 80, taking them off the public transportation and training them and send them into the battlefield.
And if they have that power and authority, and the situation calls for it in their estimation, they got to use it.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Malcolm. Here in Jamaica, I say, government have the power to make any law that can bring my life in danger.
A law to bring your life into danger.
Like what is going on in Ukraine, like how they're taking off young men on the bus and training them, putting big gun in them and tell them to go and kill Russia.
Well, it's a function of what the constitution of that particular country is and what it allows. Yes.
The constitution is more powerful than the Bible.
I wouldn't say that from the standpoint of, because the Bible is a book, and some would say a powerful book that has a following and that has stories about how we should live our lives, etc., etc., etc. You will find. Mm-hmm.
That's how these people behave, and I take a close look at the face of the males in the crowd, the African males. Very, very serious males, Mr. Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
These people get self-esteem from the politics, Mr. Malcolm. That is the ego talk.
Yeah, that's what we mentioned earlier, that it all boils down to the ego. Man's biggest problem is a three-letter word, E-G-O.
One of my tutor told me that E-G-O means easing God out. When you reach that stage, you don't remember God.
That's right.
Thank you, Professor Malcolm. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you this now, Mr. Malcolm. I noticed a Rastaman in the crowd this morning. And when I look at the Rastaman, I see him having in cap, in green cap, and in green ganzi, with him MP, with his councillor face decorated in it and the name in the back. And the last time I see him wearing a ganzi that has somebody features on it was when his son died. So tell me now, what motivates an African male in 2024, Black History Month in World War III, when their children are alive and well and going to university, and his son was a member of the police force? Oh, I don't see him wearing his son clothes to promote his son. And it's when his son died, he wear the dead clothes and the button. And now I'm wearing politician shirt and button and they are alive and well. How you rationalize that mindset in your capacity as a learned man, Professor Dervan?
It's a function of the state of mind at the particular point in time of the individual.
Wow, and what would motivate that state of mind?
Hold a moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Join JNN and Power 106 FM this Thursday, February 8th at 3 p.m. for a live discussion program hosted by Jody and Quarry as we engage young minds on the roles and responsibilities of local government. That's a live discussion on local government this nomination day exclusively on JNN and Power 106 FM.
Thanks for holding. Well, and the other thing is to be conscious of is people have their and are entitled to their choice as to how, when, or if they grieve, and for how long, and how do they keep going, and whether they in fact keep going. And so once you find yourself in that situation, then whatever works for you, you're going to apply it. Because if changing the color of the shirt or changing the mode of dress makes you feel better, then why not?
Wow. You know, Mr. Malcolm, when you look at the state of the world, by the way, in Iraq, breaking news in Iraq, they kill an Iranian commander down there in Iraq. Mm-hmm. And there's massive riots in Iraq right now, calling for the Iraqi government, calling for the Americans to leave their country. You know that in Iraq, the majority of the people sorry that Saddam died, Mr. Malcolm.
Mm-hmm. Huh? I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, they have found out that the Americans, they told lie on Saddam and kill him. Mm-hmm. You know, they find out. You see how you saw last year? Well, Mr. Malcolm is like, what I see going on in the world is like the church can't say nothing to the politician in the name of God. And like the politicians, most of them don't business with God. So what the children going to do in that scenario, Mr. Malcolm? Who should they follow? Who should they listen to? What is the role of media and all of this? If some people, if you talk the truth, you might lose your visa or you lose your work. If you side with Israel, you lose your work. If you side with Palestine, you lose your work. And I pay fear of one, Mr. Malcolm. What world is this?
I don't know that we're totally hopeless. I don't know that we're at that point. I don't think so. I think there's still some substance. There is still some reason to go on. And there are those of us who are also sort of motivating ourselves to keep going and trusting that some of that is rubbing off on others. So it's like you're giving each other strength. You're helping them to charge their batteries or to recharge their batteries in order to keep going.
Yes, it's called teamwork, Mr. Malcolm. And you know that mainstream media versus social media. The mainstream media have a right to ensure that they speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, Mr. Malcolm. Because this is what they say now, the journalists across the world. It's like all this radio program. If you have at least 20,000 people listening to you every day, you might have more listenership than some of the top status quo radio station and television station in the world, you know, because people dumping them from their channels. You know, Mr. Malcolm, because they realize that they are politically aligned and politically biased. And that is leading a lot of the people, humanity astray.
Well, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with that as long as the playing field is level.
Level.
Mm-hmm.
You think it is level in Jamaica?
The answer depends on who is asking.
Or the answer depends on who is asking the question if it is level.
That's right.
I'm never leave you with this.
Mm-hmm.
Your station, your Gleaner Group. Last time I look at the financial statement for the RJR Gleaner Group, they made a profit of about 260 million. And they paid dividends, etc. But you have an entity in Jamaica that they don't disclose their financial record because they are private. But yet that entity, when you get access to their financials and you look at the revenue side, they get more government ads than any other station in Jamaica. You know? You think that is level?
Well, you might find it problematic.
You find it problematic, Mr. Malcolm?
They might find it problematic. There might be those who find it problematic.
Yeah. There's a pronoun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who Mr. Malcolm? You can't call him name.
No, I mean there are people who might find it problematic.
Oh, so it's a money game. But you know, you look over all of those times. Never leave it with this camp. We don't have to put much time, people. I will say this to you. You have a set a country named the BRICS. Russia, Brazil, India, China, South America, they call them the BRICS, but a lot of other nations come up in them now. It's them fighting the war against NATO. But you see, over Europe now, Mr. Malcolm, the way Europe standard is dropping, they have a set of country, they call them the pigs. Pigs, you know? Poland, Ireland, Greece, and Spain. They said their economy is in tatters. So they call them the pigs. So they are going down while the BRICS are coming up. And that is the war. And it is being fought over land and money. Everywhere you go across the world, land and money and oil, they're fighting for and creating mayhem in the world that is affecting us. And in Jamaica, we fighting for the same thing, land and money. When is this war going to stop in Jamaica so that we have equal distribution of income and value for your time and value for your words and value? When we ever do that, which political party ever said to that before we want to dead off? You think that is that they are afraid of Mr. Malcolm?
If we live that long, I guess we might find out.
Oh, you know, I'm glad me find out certain things before me dead. Because the whole system in which they set up and in which we live, the whole thing is unfair, you know, Mr. Malcolm. And it reaches a stage in the world now where the truth tellers, like this program, both sides of the story, you just really start leading the people and telling the people more, you know, Mr. Malcolm. By the way, somebody listening to the station, Mr. Malcolm, you see Portia Simpson Square? A lot of murals going up.
Oh yes, I have seen that. Yes.
A lot of murals, Mr. Malcolm, and I feel so refreshed coming in the square.
Yeah, I've seen it. It is.
To be continued.
Thanks for the call. Take care.
Thanks for everything. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Horror 106 FM. Good afternoon. Someone is asking about the poem I read yesterday. I'll pick it out in a little while. Yes, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
How is things today in Jamaica?
From where I sit, it seems like a calm day.
Okay, is a nomination going on?
and related matters. Yes.
Okay, well, I just wish Orange and Lime well.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But Mr. Malcolm, I tell you, I was studying a little about human condition, you see?
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that the males are very aggressive. And a lot of what the male is supposed to complete, is the female has to complete it, right? Now, I say this to say that I started a little project with sweet potato about 3 months ago. And Mr. Malcolm, I heard about three nice young ladies who work with me, and they do their work well. And I tell you, I am just asking for them to continue planting food, farming, because by faith, I know we was going to get the yield that we want. Mr. Malcolm, it's just about half a chain square. And I used a finer heel. To me, I finer heel. I used only the seaweed in the beds. Mr. Malcolm, the sweet potato then start to bear as if they can't reap. Thank God. And by faith, I'm asking Jamaican people, please come together and let us live as one. By faith, try to do good to each other. By faith, from the basic level to the primary level. By faith. Because let me tell you something, Mr. Malcolm. Without we love each other and be ourselves and love ourselves and do good, we are nothing.
Yes.
And I'm leaving you with those few words that I shared with you today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the call. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. For Errol of the Cross Variety, the title of the poem is It Couldn't Be Done, and it's attributed to Edgar Albert Guest. It Couldn't Be Done by Edgar Albert Guest. That was the poem we recited yesterday afternoon here on Both Sides of the Story. Speaking of both sides of the story, coming up in a matter of a couple of minutes, it will be time for the discussion program, Local Government Theme. The theme is Empowering Our Youths for a Better Tomorrow. And that starts in just under 2 minutes. Jodianne Quarry is standing by to carry out hosting duties, and the guests in studio will be introduced, and the discussion will proceed accordingly. So you can stand by for that right here on Both Sides of the Story on Power 106 FM, less than a minute before the start of the discussion, Empowering Our Youth for a Better Tomorrow. Empowering our youth for a better tomorrow. So stand by. We're down to seconds now. In a matter of seconds, we'll make that transition through the local government program empowering our youth for a better tomorrow. Feed all right? So, okay.
Contractors, developers, and small builders. Contact Coast to Coast Group of Companies for high quality concrete products. The time by Coast to Coast Group of Companies is
3 o'clock. The February 5 off 50 sales event at Home and Things is here. Take $5 off every $50 you spend. Save big on the brands you know and trust. From beautiful Spanish and Brazilian tiles to exquisite bathroom fixtures from Sedosa, American Standard, and Corona. Stylish Moen and American Standard faucets, doors, windows, paints, and home decor treasures that inspires beauty and elegance. It's the February 5 off 50 sales event happening now at Home and Things, Old Trope Road and Constant Spring Road. Catch it while it lasts.
Easy save, this is the way. Bright futures ahead, so you have to save. Jane Bank makes saving easy.
Save so you can have a bright future with a Jane Bank Easy Save account. Big savings start small, and with a Jane Bank Easy Save account, you can start with just $200. Save for short-term goals.
Welcome to Jan and Discuss. I'm Dervan. As Jamaica prepares for its local government elections following a 7-year hiatus, we're diving into a crucial theme: empowering our youths for a better tomorrow.
JMN and Power 106 FM now present a special live discussion program on local government under the theme Empowering Our Youths for a Better Tomorrow. JNN and Power 106 FM now present a special live discussion program on local government under the theme Empowering Our Youths for a Better Tomorrow. JNN and Power
good afternoon, and welcome to JNN Discuss. I'm Jody Ann Quarry. As Jamaica prepares for its local government elections following a 7-year hiatus, we're diving into a crucial theme, empowering our youths for a better tomorrow. With the younger generation increasingly questioning the act of voting, and with the prolonged absence of local government elections, our discussion today holds significant relevance. So, today we have with us in studio Omalora Wilson, Guild President at the University of the West Indies Mona campus, Daniel Jordan Bailey, Youth Advocate, and Sandra Roden, political commentator. Later on in the show, we'll be having joining us on Zoom, Dervan Rowe, Deputy General Secretary of the People's National Party Youth Organization, the PNPYO, and Zuki Jarrett, Deputy General Secretary of Young Jamaica, the youth arm of the Jamaica Labour Party. Now, today's conversation has us tackle important questions. People are watching, and the youth are watching especially, watching to see what exactly local government elections mean, since almost 7 years ago, they saw the last one, many of them not able to vote, and now they're looking and they're seeing local government elections once again. Omalora Wilson, let me start off with you. For an election like this on nomination day, are people, do you think, feeling the urge to pay attention to local government elections for its own sake? And are the youth even interested in an election like this?
Greetings, everyone. That's a very solid question, Jody, based on the fact that my population is 16,000, majority of us being young people. I am really concerned, to be honest, about how the atmosphere has been about this political election. And I believe that this has always been the case when it comes down to local government elections. People are not aware of how important that is for the nation. I can speak for the University of the West Indies and how our states have been operating, and to be honest, it's as if we genuinely don't know what is happening. So questions are being asked. Persons are asking, when is nomination day? Even up to today, they're asking, so there's been a nomination day. Why is it that the states don't feel as if the election is on the rise? And then I am at the Women's Girls School, and even in that space, the girls were asking, Miss, what is nomination day? What is nomination day for? And so I believe that moving into election in just a few weeks, a lot of persons aren't aware. I feel like a lot of persons aren't interested as well, which is where our young people really actually need to be. And I feel as if until we start to factor in what local government election is and how important it is, not just to young people, but to people of Jamaica, then we're kind of in a sticky situation. But based on what I've seen at the University of the West Indies, I think the conversation or the heat has not been there as yet.
Sandra Roden, as a political commentator, this conversation about what it means to have local government versus central government, or an election that prioritizes councillors in 228 divisions when compared to the 63 members of parliament, is an ongoing one. Do you feel that Jamaicans in general and the youth in particular have any idea the difference between the two, especially on a day like today, nomination day?
I think many people don't understand the importance of local government. I do think we understand what the difference is between the two, because for the first time in a number of years, there's a hype around this local government elections. And I call it that because both parties know that this election will be very important for the next election, which is a general election, which means then that the political parties have what I would say some unsung or unsaid understanding of the meaning of local government elections, which they've sometimes kept close to their chests because many people don't know their councillors, and that's just the truth. Many people have voted for councillors but didn't know, they just voted for a party. But in the end, if you look at it, there's always a relationship between local government and the general election. So when you look at it, you see where Jamaica Labour Party were about 13, and they took, not 13, pardon, 8 of the 14, or 8 of the 13, 14 with the Portmore thing. This is very weird, but they won 8, and PNP won 4 at the same time they won the general. So now it's a matter of who wins this can really say to the country who they're going with for the general election. So that's what the hype is about. But I believe that this hype was not as strong in the past, but because it means so much and because it was also delayed, people are now paying attention. Is it good? Is it bad? Is the question that we really want to ask, because we do want people to pay attention, but did it have to get to this point for us to start paying attention? I think the young people are not really that interested in voting overall. So local government might not be the thing to pull them up, but let's see. This is what I've been saying for the past couple of weeks. Let's see if the parties can convince people that they need to vote. And let's see if we'll see better numbers than what we had in 2020.
So we'll certainly be looking to see if the turnout happens. Daniel Jordan Bailey, for all the conversation that's happening, though, about the local government election. It isn't for the local government election's sake, it seems. It's connected to that broader discussion about assessing where the parties are and the general election. For persons watching, do you think that they have an understanding? Especially the youth, of the difference between local government and general and the central government, or are they just voting along party lines as they always do?
I don't necessarily think it's a lack of understanding per se, because young people, I've spoken to them, and they do understand, the importance of voting and the importance of the local election versus the general elections. But I think it's a matter of a lack of them being heard, because they've seen after youth years, especially, who people have kind of discouraged or rather come for, because they haven't spoken about where they stand politically. It's mainly because they don't feel as if their voices are heard when it comes to the policy change of politics, or when these government officials are installed, is their change going to occur? So it's not necessarily an apathy or a lack of interest per se. It's just that young people are consistently seeing where during the election process, it's your voices are going to be heard. We're going to do XYZ for you, the young people, and when the time comes around for it to be implemented, there's a pushback. So it's not necessarily that young people aren't trying to be there politically as it relates to the government. I was wondering, you don't agree, as it relates to the government of Jamaica, but it's just necessarily they've consistently seen where, despite the re-election time, where it's all hail, but when the time comes around, then the interest dies down.
We're talking about empowering the youth, Omalora. They're focused on what they understand and what they don't understand. But Sandra raised an important point. That is, these elections seem to be important. They seem to matter in a broader context. Not only for, as we heard Daniel Jordan say, seeing if the youth can be heard, but also this general idea of who might in fact take over when we have those general elections. Does the incumbent Jamaica Labour Party hold on to power, or does the opposition People's National Party? Do you think that that is what people are seeing, and that's the excitement and the buzz that he is at least seeing? Because you're saying from your end, on the UWI campus, your people aren't feeling or seeing that buzz at all.
That's true. So the thing about it is, at the University of West Indies, we hold our young people at higher regards. Those are the persons who are supposed to be asking the serious questions, and we've moved away from being die-hearted laborers, die-hearted comrades. But the truth is, what is our government doing for us so that we can play a part within this generation? And so I believe that even when you look outside today, because I know I saw the videos and out and about and everything, the students are asking the questions. What are the manifestos? What are we planning to do? What's happening within the communities? As been saying, what exactly is being put in place for young people to come out to vote? Because this is happening while we are at university, schools across the world. And so I believe that we have moved away from being die-hearted people, and we're asking the serious questions. And as such, we understand, just as Henry said, how important local government elections are at this moment. We know what it matters for, because we know that very soon general election is coming up. And so this is what depicts to us how our government will operate, because they hold, for me personally, local government matters way more than the national elections. So let me basis that these are the people who have hands-on experience with the people within the community. So I may never meet my MP, but I must know who my councillor is at all times. Even if I don't have a solid conversation with him, I know who he is, I know what he's doing. And so our young people are the ones who are asking these questions, because these are the things that matter. It's not about who can buy this and who can fix the house anymore, but who is playing an active role within the community so we can grow. So for me personally, when I look at it in that way, I somewhat agree with Sandra and Danielle. You know, we've moved away from what it used to be. We're thinking about politics completely different than how our ancestors did. So my mother looks at it one way. I'm sorry, I can't look at it the way you look at it. And now we're asking the serious questions. So was this happening out there, but is what's happening for the right reasons? And young people are the ones who will ask the right questions. Should we be given the opportunity and the space to ask?
I think it's important then that people actually know who their counselors are to ask these questions. Andrea, you said that people know who their counselors are. There are many people that have no idea. Yes, people are on the ground knowing who their counselors are.
That's a general statement to that. Let me correct.
Yes.
Maybe I should say.
Because I asked an unscientific poll on Twitter asking people if they knew who their counselors were. Some people were able to figure out their counselors. Some people went to Google to find out. And others said they had never heard of them and had never come into contact with them. Yes, please.
Because let me say some people in the sense that those people who maybe, as Omagura said, the die-hearted ones, the ones who are engaged. And you find that's a problem with Jamaican politics. Now, I give the Prime Minister kudos over the past 2 years for speaking to his silent majority. He's been saying that those 2 words, and if you watch politics overseas, if you look at international politics, those are very key words in international politics because it speaks to those people who are independent of mind and thought, and they really and truly go and vote based on issues and policies. But as it relates to knowing their councillors, some people do. But there is a number of people who never do know their councillors because...
How is it that someone is in a community, Sandra, has these people on the ground, should be touching and concerning their lives? These divisions are much smaller. These are areas where you should be able to meet your neighbors. And the person's 7 years on still not have an idea of who
why the question. That's an easy question to answer. In our politics, the councillors and the council caretakers, they go into divisions where they want to win. So if they know, not just the division, the polling divisions to be very specific, they go in those specific small clustered areas and they're like, oh, this is our stronghold, we're going for the votes here. So there are some people, and I've said it, there's a young man that I knew he used to go to my high school and he's running, and I said to him, he said, I'm not going there, I'm going where I know have the votes. But I said, you want to be the council for the people, not the council for the area that for the party that represent. It makes no sense. But this has happened because there are people who aren't really aware of who is my council, because you might hear when I was young, I heard who my council was. I've probably never seen him in my life, but I've heard who he was. You might hear that, but there are people who, as you say, it's small and people are supposed to feel and touch more than the MP. But at least I've seen and touched my MP.
In a way that you might not have seen and touched your council. Well, Daniel, good, let me talk to you about that, because that concern is one that's been raised by so many people, that our political life here in Jamaica prioritizes the member of parliament going around seeing and touching persons in the community. And those councillors often don't show up. And if they do show up, they might go to stronghold areas where they feel that they have committee bases that are able to then support them in elections. But councillors do so much. Do you feel then that if they were on the ground doing what it is that they should be doing during the time which they are elected, that persons might not have this fascination to see the member of parliament, because they would know that some of their community concerns can and should be addressed by those councillors?
Of course, because they would know the various steps they need to take to see change. I can say personally, I don't necessarily have a relationship with my council, or any council for that matter, as someone who's interested in policy change. So I just also wanted to speak on what you had said as regards to, councillors going to where they want the votes. That's also one of the differences right now, and why there's kind of a drawback as it regards to individuals not necessarily knowing their councillors. It's not because they don't want to actually approach them and say, hey, this is what's happening. It's because councils are going where they want to get the votes, not necessarily where people want to see the change. Because when people want to see the change, that's work for someone to take on. And we all know how we all know how that goes when there's actually someone actually has to take the time to invest money and resources to fix something that exists within our community, whether it be physical or social. But back to your question. Please repeat the question.
The question was, what do we think it's important as we're having a conversation about councillors? If persons better understood the role of councillors versus MPs, if they might then demand that their councillors show up and have those conversations about those community issues that persons often get the feeling that the member of parliament should be sorting out.
Yeah, so in that regard, of course, because every time something happens, we tend to specifically call on this minister and that minister and say, it's time for them to come into my community and do this for us right now. But it's as I said, there's steps that someone needs to take for something to be executed. And one of those first steps is speaking to your councillor, also speaking to a JP. They're people that you go to before you go to the quote unquote big boss. As one could say, so it's if you want to actually see the change, then go to who you need to go to. Sandra, I look really skeptical when you mentioned JPs as also other community persons. But we're having a conversation. What do councillors do? I ask you plain and I ask you unprompted, because if you as president of the UWI Guild can't give me a whole running list of what councillors do, I think it might be difficult then for other Jamaicans who must know there is some difference but can't put their finger on it to figure out what that difference is. So what do councillors do? That's so funny. I have been answering that question all week, and every time I have to pause and think, because the truth is, as Daniel says, a lot of people just don't know. We just don't know. But I'll use an example. I'll use a conversation I've been using with my girls since week has started. Each community and each division has their own issues and concerns that they must raise, and they need persons who are there on the floor to address these issues, find solutions, and ensure that the members of the community are okay. These issues range from water issue, infrastructure, social development within the persons within the community, and of course ensure that these concerns and matters are brought to the higher heads, that they're solved. And that's where councillors come in. They're all student representatives or guild representatives or student council in the community level, because that's what we explain to students. And so these persons' sole reason is to be a voice and also the door for the issues, concerns, and initiatives within the community and the division. So while it is that we have 63 different members representing constituencies, the truth of the matter is a constituency can hold up to 20,000 people. Let's give and take. And you have to ask yourself the logical question: can one man or woman go through 20,000 people in a span of 4 years? No, it's crazy. I don't even think they can go through 5,000. So therefore, we break it up in smaller pieces, so there are persons that are actually addressing your matter for you and representing you at a higher level. So for me, and for the students who are listening, and for everybody else, I think that is the easiest way I can explain what councillors do or ought to do within the Jamaica.
That's the question, though, Sandra. The list that we heard Omalora talk to us about is a list that sounds nice. If you look at it on paper, this division of roles and responsibilities mean that the member of parliament is focused on laws and policies and the execution of those on the ground, and the feeling that people have on the ground for these policies being put in place is what councils are supposed to do. We're having this supposed to do conversation, though, because it seems that in many communities across Jamaica, in 223 divisions, they might not be feeling that. What are some of the impediments that you have heard of that might prevent a councillor from being as effective on the ground as potentially they would like to, or certainly citizens would like to see?
I really like this conversation. it came from, when you asked Daniel Jordan earlier about that contextualization, just looking at councillors versus members of parliament. The main impediment is that we do focus on personalities in politics more than policies. And because we do that, we have created this sense in Jamaican politics where politicians are demigods. I've been saying this for years. And because politicians are demigods, the councillors are not really of that high stature unless they have some name or other bigger inkling in the politics. But it's really that member of parliament. Let me use a good example now where a member of parliament in Manchester would have defeated a demigod from the People's National Party, and now her name is wrong in the...
So you're saying that Rhoda Crawford, for example, is the person that you're using as your example?
Right, I'm using her as an example to say that people will see her now as a figure to look to, because she's solving these issues. But what many people don't understand and why we have called long time to say, give us roles and responsibilities, Mr. Prime Minister, put it down on paper, tell us what a minister should do. Because even though Rhoda Crawford will have become the member of parliament, to be honest, she has, I think, about 3 or 4 divisions in her seat, and those issues are specific to those spaces. So because we have created that space where we forget that MPs are really supposed to be legislators, which means they should be focusing on laws, and those backbenchers should be putting forward policies to ministers and putting forward laws and actually giving input on the amendments and not having things be forced through parliament every week. That is a different role from a council who should actually be able to advocate, to go to the municipality and say, these are the issues, we want this type of allocation, these are the roads that we want to fix, should be able to say to agriculture, these are the farm roads in St. Elizabeth that we want to fix. That's 2 different things. But because the MPs are so ingrained and like to stand up and take picture by the road work and then have to go out and give up the care package themselves, we have now conflated the roles. So an MP is an MP councillor that then have sub-councillors. That's what we have now. And these sub-councillors are supposed to just keep the seat safe so that when they're ready for run, they can show them, say, this is PNP, or this is JLP. Or that is what we have now. That's a system that we've created. And I'm not going to blame on mere politicians or the politicians of old. To be honest, it's just been ingrained and we've not matured out of it. But as Omalura said, the younger persons are becoming independent. And I said it last week that the voter turnout being low is also a voice saying something to the political process.
I think it's important then, as we have a conversation like this, Daniel, Jordan, Bailey, you as a youth advocate get to speak up as well, because if it is that we're having a situation where our councillors are not able to then fully act in their role as councillors, that role that Omonora was able to share with us, then it seems to me that members of parliament do this demigod role, we'll use Sandra's word here, demigod role, and they'll take credit for things that councillors should be doing, the fixing of parochial roads, public cleaning and public works, public health matters in communities, but they'll distance themselves when there are problems in the community, poor roads, poor infrastructure. They'll say that they are not responsible for those things. Does that then lead us to a situation where when it's nice for the opening of a road, they show up as members of parliament, but when they should be walking through a community hand in hand with a councillor, we're not seeing MPs then allow for councillors to fulfill their role in local government?
Yes, because really and truly, it blurs roles and responsibilities. I remember my father and I always say this, that the least someone can do for you in a community is fix your road. Like, you shouldn't be, I'm so sorry, that's a basic need for a community to have a means of transportation for individuals to walk on the road, to drive on the road, to get out of the community. If something happens to someone within the community and they're in need of someone that be financial or emotional assistance, that's the expectation. It shouldn't be that someone is praised for fixing a road, because that's the bare minimum.
Our point is not only getting water, only being electrified. Still, significant.
We even saw within a school. I remember it was a post. It was an article published by one of the political parties about how a school, I think it was Hanover, they're just getting running water now for the first time in like 63 years. And I was just like, well, these are someone's basic needs. We are revoking someone's human right to water, to food, to basic shelter. We're exposing it as if it's something to applaud individuals for, which is why it makes it seem as if MPs are demigods. Because as Jamaicans, I just feel as if as a country, we need to kind of heighten our expectations, because there's a
but talk to me, because we're seeing a situation, Daniel, where if this is now the new unveiling at that school, did you better learn who the councillor in the area was to be able to then congratulate them on that?
It wasn't the councillor that did it.
So it was the member of parliament that had been highlighted in this situation. Is this then for you, Daniel, something that concerns you, that as we see less and less of councillors being able to go forward, indicating their track record, that if they're to be re-elected, they might not have a track record to stand up?
Of course, because MPs are taking on the roles of councillors, leaving councillors to do nothing.
within their community. So some of them who have taken the initiative to take part, and they'll take on some tasks, but it creates a blur between what an MP is supposed to do and what a council is supposed to do. So when the time comes for them to be re-elected, they may not even not because of them not necessarily wanting to do it, but they have been taken on by an MP.
Well, let me just quickly then hear from you on this, because the last local government elections that were held in Jamaica were held in 2016 in November. 7 years on, even in a 4-year role, even if a councillor was able to do extraordinary work in year 2 and year 3, it's now year 7. It's very hard potentially for them to continue to play on that track record. Do you think that might be a challenge as they look for votes during this time?
Of course. I am now eligible to vote. In a way that in 2016 you weren't. When I was in 2016, I was 12. I could not, in my mind, voting is just like that's something for my grandma, my father, all of. So think of it within that context that we had people in 2016, they were not eligible to vote. People that were 12, people that were probably 10, but now 7 years later, they wouldn't have known the progress that would have existed as it relates to the activities that their councils would have done, because it was way back when, and even so the council may not have even done it. They have been the MP. So it's just like we see it's a domino effect. We see how it kind of hinders everything.
Help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 3:30.
3:31 on Power 106.
Watching, and they might have been young during the time of the last local government elections. They also then saw 3 postponements of the local government elections being held. What for the people who were finally able to vote in these local government elections might that have meant for their willingness to engage in the process?
To be honest, I think that's why I'm so willing at this point. I didn't get the chance to vote at that time. I was really young. And to be honest, now it's my chance to put my voice out there. 2020 was my first chance voting, and I would not miss it for the world. And even in this space right now, I genuinely will not miss local elections for the world. I think I'm voting and then flying right after I vote, and I will vote before I fly. But the concern is not many people are thinking like me. So I've been asking since in my university space. Again, this is 16,000. I cut it down to 12 because 4 may be from different islands. Are you voting? And I can say a significant amount of them don't even have their voters ID. And so the concern is more than just are they coming out to vote, but more so what is it that the government is doing, or even not the government, the electoral office, to ensure young people are executing their right to vote. And so it's more than just putting up a flyer and saying, it's your right to vote, you're supposed to vote, but let us know why we're supposed to vote. Because over the years, we have no reason to vote anymore. We've lost interest, as Sandra said. We realize that we are not at the forefront of discussion for the next generation of leaders. And I think that is the biggest concern I have at the moment. But to me, for those who have their voters ID, and for those who are seeing the significant importance of what it means to vote, we have that zeal within us to go out and vote. We have it because we know about us, and it's important to understand that for 7 years, someone has been occupying this position. What do they have to show that they have accomplished this? And I'm talking about whether your MP has been doing a good job or not. What have you been doing? There must be a time in which, this is not where I say, I'm not time to shine right now. Step aside, let me handle a project. We must can do that. And so, even when Daniel said it earlier, the concern I had was, while Daniel was speaking, why is it that our government, our opposition and government alone, focus so much on showcasing the MPs? Why is it that it's so important that they go out? And then the question that I have is, Jamaicans don't care, the narrative is that Jamaicans don't care about local government elections. Is it that our government and our opposition also don't care and consider national elections to be of high importance, which is why they send the MPs? So it's okay that you're not working, because whether or not you lose a still GLP constituency, so do team, or a still PNP constituency. So that's a concern I am now having this conversation here. What do they believe, or what importance do they hold local government elections to? Because Sandra spoke about it to say the zeal is there now because of the long-standing way that we've been having. I said I'm concerned because I said elections will come. If this party wins, then it might be people will happen. But if that wasn't the case,
And of what importance do you hold it?
Well,
I think that's a good
I think it is important because Daniel and Sandra dressed back when you said what is the weight that parliamentarians hold for the impact and importance of local government elections. Sandra, we can see that for the turnout for local government elections, 2016, the last one that we had, 30.06% showed up. 2012, 34.5%, 2007, 37.9%. 2007's 37.9 is not a fantastic number at all. In fact, for the lowest general election figures we've ever had of about 38%, we had a crisis in 2020. That means that we've been at crisis levels, it seems, since 2007 for local government elections. With then this lack of focus that you're seeing on the councillors, the elevation of the members of parliament, and then the long delay in having them. Are you expecting the voter turnout to be something that impresses this time around, or are you seeing more and more apathy now being demonstrated by our voter turnout numbers for both local and national elections?
I think apathy has increased. And apathy has increased because of many things. I think Omolo and Daniel Jordan went deep into what the issues are. So noting that apathy has already increased, my only view on it is the possibility that the parties can bring out people to vote. But then that creates a vacuum of individuals that are independent and may not be interested at this time to vote. Because why? The issues are national, not even local. The issues are national why people may not vote. People may not vote because they don't believe that the other party should go in at this point, and they just don't believe they should give the support because they like what's happening under the administration. Some people may not vote because they're looking at the issues and they're like, well, do these issues really affect me? No. I have friends that are young professionals like myself, and when I was talking to one of them like last week, I was talking to two of them actually, and we went in the conversation. I was like, guys, elections are coming. What are your views? And one of the ladies look at me, she's like, listen, I am not voting. I don't even have my voter's ID. Wait for it. She has a family that is deeply ingrained in the political space. So then the other person as well, she has a family that's ingrained in political space and she's not interested. She's just like,
so even generationally, families that have this sort of culture of taking a stance, of engaging in political life, of making a choice, even their children are not engaged in ways that they probably might have been.
Community organizers as well. When you think about that, you really have to question, because yes, now we've seen the Jamaica Labour Party lean into that aspect of leaning on the youth voters. Young people are drawn to Andrew Holness. Nobody can detest that. Nobody can go against it. That's the truth. He comes off as somebody that you can look up to or aspire to be. But then you question, this is a very important question, I have to go here. Why aren't these so-called young MPs or young politicians not tapping into the young people in their space, not appealing to the young people as much as the Prime Minister does? Because the PNP would have installed the youngest senator in history, right? And to be honest, the hype around Senator Gabrielle Morris, it went up when she was installed, but after that it died down. It wasn't, there's no war about it. No, it's just something of our past, it happened and so on. And then Omolo being until president, you also have to lean on the fact that Damian Crawford, who is going for MP seat, was a Gill president. Floyd Green, a Gill president, I think, in Barbados. We have Colonel Charles, all of those younger politicians that should be engaging young people. Yeah, they should know. Like, it's not they use these same routes and they use these same young advocacy routes to climb, but they need to engage, because they also have to engage for younger voters to actually believe that I can access this person. I'm not saying for you to access the rest of them, but I'm saying they should actively engage. I've always thought about it. Why haven't the parties actually looked at how they solve the issue of civic engagement? Because consistently going to a base that either is getting older, and PNP's based on that, and I suppose, show that they appeal to older voters. Older voters turn 100 and then drop out. You really have to look at who are your voters now. Your voters are younger persons. If younger persons aren't interested, what's the point of the elections if you're not having a certain level of voter turnout?
And I think that is such a critical question for not only our national elections, but also our local government elections, because it's a conversation about political engagement in the process and then what it means going forward. And if we're empowering our youths for tomorrow, things like school, for example, might be the place where you create that sort of zeal for civic engagement. Laura, you're talking to us now about speaking to your girls, speaking to those students about local government elections, about what it means as you're having a debate on the importance of councillors. Do you see in this newer generation at least the knowledge through education of the importance of civic engagement and democracy? And then do you see them at least trying to turn the tide, potentially being more invested in political life, especially as Andre said, you're watching political leaders who some might argue might be more interesting to youth. Is that going to be something that has them come out to vote?
To be honest, in my community, we are very, very serious about civic engagement. In fact, a lot of times we take the master to invite these politicians within the space of discussions. And then, of course, you might get why can't we it? Probably next time, and next time doesn't happen. In fact, I can talk for one when it comes out to just engaging young people. I have been reaching out to politicians through every means possible.
But are you reaching out to councillors or reaching out to members of parliament?
Councillors, MP, Prime Minister, in the opposition, you name it, once we can get the conversation valid. And this year, the Guild took an extra mile to ensure that we did a lot of courtesy calls so we could ask the questions, because somebody needs to give us the answers. And our young people believe strongly in democracy because we love to use our voice. We love chat, we love back with chat, and we need somebody there to see. We need some space for us to execute our right, to talk and talk well. And so for me, democracy is important, civic engagement is important amongst young people. And if we don't have that, we're not interested. We need to know that we are important to you, the same way we consider you to be important to us. And going forward from here, you will continue to see that solid basis that our young people, local government elections are called, field elections are called around the same time. And so we are right now trying to ensure that we don't have vote happening in our space. We want our young people to come out and vote. But our concern, even as the Guild and the sales within the University of West Indies, and not just our institution, but all tertiary institutions, secondary institutions have a voting process. Democracy is built within our education system. As long as we can vote, we vote. The teacher asks you to vote for your form captain and your head girl and head boy for primary school. That's how important it is. And so we need the opportunity to learn and grow within democracy and how important it is to us. So looking how we are going for this election, I want to say that the zeal is there to see what democracy can do and how important it is. It's your one chance to use your voice, and we want to use it well. So yes, I believe young people are trying. Yes, civic engagement is important to us. No, we don't think that the government or the leader of opposition or the opposition, heck, the entire parliamentarians are doing as much as they can do. It's not even ought to. Just can. You can do it. You're just not doing it. And so it concerns us and concerns us greatly. I mean, Sanjay made a solid point. UE is so close to them. It's a drive away. They can come and sit in my office. For Christ's sake, let's have a drink and conversation. Let me know what you did when you were president. Let me know what you did when you were here on campus. And I barely have that, you know? And so I think it's a serious concern because you need to train the next generation. You even make a bring somebody into your political party or just convince them to go the other way. But it's necessary and it's not happening.
I think that is important, that critical fostering of the zeal for political representation, for political engagement in the next generation, whether it is that they put themselves in a position as representative or they engage in the democratic process through voting. That will be important for our youth as we empower them for a better tomorrow. We're going to take a break here inside JNN Discuss and come back to you. Now focused on political parties. They today fielded their slate of candidates for nomination day. So what have they put out there, and do they believe that on February 26th, they'll be able to convince voters to come out and support? JMN and Power 106 FM has just presented a special live discussion program on local government under the theme Empower Our Youths for a Better Tomorrow.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45. Power 106 FM, the digital sound, now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us on 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band. You can also listen to us on the Power 106 FM app, which you can download on the Google Play Store or the App Store. Plus, listen to us on onespotmedia.com and the One Spot Media app, or log on to go-jamaica.com. Power 106 FM, where all views can contend, giving you powerful talk radio in so many ways, on air and online.
My heart is silent as long as patiently. God, when my strength, my love, my loyalty to Him. Oh, bring I know the evenings shall make us strong and free. All around and all your promises, who continues to be. I pledge my heart with silence as God.
You're listening to a special edition of Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM in partnership with JNN. It's a discussion program looking at local government and its theme, empowering our youths for a better tomorrow. It's happening now. So they're
All you'll ever need to know about agriculture in the 21st.
Friend. When I listen to you in the mornings and the way you interview the people so that us as farmers don't really understand it, break it down. It's really powerful.
Wake up to Farm Talk, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
Power 106 FM, the digital sound, now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us on 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band. You can also listen to us on the Power 106 FM app, which you can download on the Google Play Store or the App Store. Plus, listen to us on onespotmedia.com and the One Spot Media app, or log on to go-jamaica.com. Power 106 FM, where all views can contend, giving you powerful talk radio in so many ways, on air and online.
Tune in every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. for Your Legal Corner with Dana Walker Huntington, doing both sides of the story with Dervan. Welcome on Power 106 FM. It's your source of information regarding U.S. immigration matters, combined with Power 106 FM's pioneer of diaspora broadcasting. Call in with your U.S. immigration queries and concerns on 876-922-41125 or send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598 and get the answers you need for your U.S. immigration questions. That's Your Legal Corner with Dana Walker Huntington, Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. during both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm, only on Power 106 FM.
Joining our live discussion here on JNN and JNN's YouTube channel and on Power 106 FM. We're having discussions today on Nomination Day as we look to local government elections and the importance of our councillors. We're joined in this segment by Dervan Rowe, Deputy General Secretary of the People's National Party's youth organization, PNPYO. We were to be joined as well by Zuki Jarrett, Deputy General Secretary of Young Jamaica, the youth arm of the Jamaica Labour Party, but unfortunately he was unable to join us today. It's important, though, for us to have conversations with those who have made themselves available for political discussions, but also political representation, especially as we're having this conversation about a declining interest by the youth in getting involved. So, Dervan Rowe, in a space where less and less youth seem to be interested in voting, there seems to be an apathy around voters generally, but younger people are saying they don't see the purpose of voting. Why did you get involved in the political process?
Well, really and truly, why I decided to get involved is because, well, I've always been involved in youth leadership. However, I decided that, at this point in time, I believe that more youth moving away from politics, it is time for someone to step up. So I believe that I'm supposed to be that person. Of course, I selected a side. I believe that it is indeed the right side. I believe that's the way to move forward. I'm actually involved with youth right across the board, regionally and also internationally. And of course, nationally as well, where I'm a teacher. So I teach at St. George's College, and I've been hearing the conversations, specifically with the boys, and as you pointed out, there's indeed a lack of interest as it relates to political discussions on a whole. I'm also involved at the university level, where I'm an administrator on the university campus, and I'm seeing that persons are indeed disinterested in the political process. And I believe that somebody has to step up. So I'm supposed to be that person.
Dervan, we've been having conversations today about the need for people to step up, the need for people to vote. But we're also seeing a local government election where there's a real fear that this won't be the one that captures the attention of the people of Jamaica. We've had a decline in the turnout for local government elections, leading us in the last election in 2016 to about a 30% voter turnout. What are you hoping for as the People's National Party has unveiled their slate of candidates today to see at the end of it? The 2016 figures showing the Jamaica Labour Party winning 130 divisions, while the People's National Party won 93.
To be honest, what we're hoping to see is what we've been seeing over the past weeks and over the past months. We've been seeing a revitalized energy from the People's National Party, not only in urban Jamaica, but also in rural Jamaica. I visited communities in St. Elizabeth, Hanover, Trelawney, St. James, and I've been seeing a revitalized energy towards the People's National Party. Of course, this has to do with several factors. One of these factors would be the fact that the local government election has not happened for about 7 years now. So there's a revitalized energy. Another important point, that I can point out as well is just overall the lack of trust and the bad perception that there is in regards to the government itself at this present moment.
That feeling, though, of perception might matter when it comes to how a person show up on local government election day, but particular municipal corporations are hot and heavy in the news, and that includes the Portmore Municipal Corporation, with the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation being concerned and then Portmore potentially becoming its own parish being a real issue and focus. Portmore is well in the sights of the People's National Party to continue having control over that council and continue to have Mayor Leon Thomas as mayor once again. But the Jamaica Labour Party has said they will not leave that one alone. From your vantage point, how likely is it that you'll be able to hold on February 26th to that municipal corporation?
We are very confident right across Jamaica, and especially in Portmore as well. I believe, as I said before, there's a revitalized energy behind the People's National Party. It's not like 4, 8, 10 years ago. It's a different People's National Party. We're under different political leadership as well, and we're very confident going to the polls on February 26th.
Let me pull in Daniel here for a minute, because if we're having a conversation about people being sure about municipal corporations and Portmore being a hot button topic, have you heard any youth involvement, any youth views, anything that says the population of Portmore that might still be quite young, a dormitory community, the largest in the English-speaking Caribbean? Has there been anything that you have seen that has said, we've been incorporating the views of the people of Portmore and especially its youth as we look to what happens to the future of that area?
No, I'm not quite sure how much more to explore on it, because during this entire panel we've been thinking about the lack of youth engagement and the lack of including youth in the process. So my answer doesn't change in that regard. It's still no. Unfortunately, I'm not as abreast as it regards to Portmore or whatever goes on. So I can say no based on my standpoint as a youth advocate that's engaged with youth who sometimes discuss politics. So it's just a no. It's a no from me. I'll leave it at that.
Well, unfortunately, we were unable to get to the viewpoints of the Jamaica Labour Party on this, with Zuki Jarrett, Deputy General Secretary of the Young Jamaica Youth Arm of the JLP, unable to join us, because this sort of battle for the Portmore seat is certainly going to be something that on the 26th we're going to be looking at. Different role, though, as we look at the municipal corporations, there also has been talk about the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation and their stance about not taking part in the unveiling of the new Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project leg only a few days ago. There being a real discussion there about the role of the People's National Party, and then saying that vex votes, persons who disagree with the opening of that vote, might be the reason that they hold on to that municipal corporation. Is that also something that you see from your vantage point?
Yes, we do. However, it's important for us to recognize that the conversation is bigger than just what you mentioned. We look at the disagreements that exist not only in St. Thomas but right across Jamaica as it relates to the current governance of the country.
Is the current governance issue the one that you think will convince voters on February 26th that the People's National Party's division, or rather the People's National Party's councillors for the various divisions should be the ones that either continue or are installed?
I think it will. However, again, the conversation is bigger than that as well. Of course, we're leading with a charge that we're supposed to focus locally, because, of course, we can't go against the importance of local governance. Local governance is very important. And a part of the People's National Party mandate is to start from the base of Jamaica, to ensure that we build from scratch and then we slowly build Jamaica from there. So that is what we're focusing on, and that is our money.
Well, I think it's important for us to take a break, continuing this discussion here as to the importance of local government elections on today, nomination day, for the upcoming local government elections on February 26th. We'll take a break here, especially as we have our Power 106 FM listeners continuing with us. Thanks so much for joining us, Power 106 FM listeners. We really appreciate you being here with us in our JNN Discuss conversation, empowering our youth for a better tomorrow. We'll take a break here on JNN and come back to you with more.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
Easy save, this is the way. Bright futures ahead, so you have to save. Jerry and that makes saving easy.
Save so you can have a bright future with a Jane Bank Easy Save account. Big savings start small. And with a Jane Bank Easy Save account, you can start with just $200. Save for short-term goals. Or you can have full savings of it to take you into the future.
Easy save, this is the way. Jerry and that makes saving easy. To give for me, I know the easy to make us strong and free. All vows and loyal promises, who constancies to thee. I pledge my heart's desire, as God and faith shall live. My birth, my strength, my love, as my loyalty to give. Oh, green, I love the evenings, shall make us strong and free. All vows and loyal promises, who constancies to
A minute past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. It's a special edition of Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, in partnership with JNN, a discussion on local government. The theme, empowering our youths for a better Jamaica. Let's listen. So we continue now with your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And we thank the team for the discussion and the opportunity to engage a younger audience with respect to matters related to local government. And so the discussion will continue, no doubt, empowering our youths for a better tomorrow. Let's check in with some of the messages that have come in. 876-922-4112-5 are the numbers to call. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. Hello to Ella Reid. She says, good afternoon, Dervan. I believe municipal representative in Jamaica should be independent of political party like Ontario, Canada. They would perform better and the government would fund all municipal councils equal without fear that PNP or JLP are doing a better work in the city, says Ellerid Johnson. Mr. Mark, otherwise known as Bunty, says, Mr. M, just asking you to read 3 scriptures and no 2 Corinthians 4, verse 4. Explain all what your caller was asking. The Bible, explain, but you did not read them. One love, says Mac, otherwise known as Bunty. Horace, otherwise known as Spider, says, Mr. Malcolm, good afternoon. Is the U.S. government trying to rescue we Jamaicans under a diplomatic style? Because how can we say that we Jamaicans only harm Jamaicans, not foreigners? And people are so upset because this is going to damage our tourism product. So what happens to the Jamaican citizens? Marie Torres in New York says, blessings, Mr. Malcolm. I pray that the behavior of my Jamaican brothers and sisters remain the same, quiet and respectful. This is showing our leaders that Jamaicans are no longer ignorant and illiterate to the reality of life. This one says, good afternoon, Dervan. I'm still thinking about the Gleaners spelling bee competition yesterday. The highlight for me was when the contestant was asked to spell the word shika and was not successful. That was emotional for me. And this one says, Dervan, do you know that the past and present wars had started since Cain killed his brother Abel? Do you know that the motive was intimidation? Their God is a biased flesh and blood consumer. Abel's offering of fat animals, blood, and flesh was accepted. Cain's fruits, ground provisions, and vegetables were not. Abel's animals fed on Cain's fruits and vegetables, while Cain had to work in the sun, and Abel rested in the shade of Cain's fruit trees. Their God had inculcated sin. And this is from Visionary in Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland. And Nellie, Miss Nellie says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Good afternoon, Miss Nellie. Thank you very much for your message. Calvin in North York, Ontario, Canada, also tuned in. Welcome. And let's see. I think we have just about completed reading those messages. Let's check the other platforms. Marcia Brown on YouTube says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I beg to second that about the roads in Linstead, St. Catherine. It's a disgrace. Errol says, good day, Dervan and all listeners. Dervan, could I have the name of that poem read yesterday? It Couldn't Be Done, attributed to Edgar Albert Guest. Attributed to Egbert Albert Guest. And the title is It Couldn't Be Done, or words to that effect. Hope you got the information. Thank you very much for your message. Mikey Morris says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. To you too, Mikey Morris. Hello to Inez Ayona Campbell, who's tuned in as well. Welcome, Inez Ayona Campbell. Julia B. in New York says, good afternoon, Dervan and listeners. It's a beautiful sunny day here in New York, although there is a little chill. And let's see who else is messaging us. Valerie Weller Carpeck says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan. Blessings to you and all kings and queens. Thank you for your message. Natalie Winter says, good afternoon, all. Pleasant viewing, Washington Gardens. I love you all. Take care. Listening to hear you on both sides of the story. Thank you for your message. And let's check. I think we have covered most, if not all, the messages already. So let's continue. 876-922-4112-5. The numbers to call, 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. And if there are other young people like the ones involved in the local government discussion, if any such young people are listening, feel free as well to share your thoughts, ideas, suggestions, issues, concerns. We look forward to your input in that regard. 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. We have also been seeing a couple of videos. One of them of mostly females cramming into the back of one of the police units, one of the police vehicles, and a bit of what they call in England argy-bargy. And there might have been one or two other spats, but for the most part, it would appear that people have been respectful and responsible. For the most part, we haven't been going across the island, operating right across the island like our journalist newsroom team. So we would not have seen or heard everything, but we are sure that coming up in major news at 5, all things being well, we can expect a comprehensive roundup of the happenings on this Nomination Day, Thursday, the 8th of February. And of course, coming up in a few days' time, it will be local government election. So one can expect a lot more happening in virtually every space, every corner of Jamaica. But just a reminder to be safe first of all, and as they say in boxing, keep it clean. Keep it clean. If you are so confident about your political party and its performance, you don't need to push and shove and box and kick and do any such thing, because you're better than that. You're in a different you're in a better place, and therefore we expect the behavior to be to reflect that, quite frankly. So you don't need to. If your team, if from what you have seen your team is doing well, by all means cheer on your team, big up your team, encourage your team, support your team. That's the way to go, instead of seeking to build animosity and enmity and all kinds of grudges and so on and so forth. Let's just keep it clean. We have come a long way. We still have a far way to go, but we're coming from a place that wasn't looking that pretty in terms of how we related to each other on both sides. We are not going back there, as we said at the start of the program. We're not going back there. So those people who have ideas of that, you're on your own. There's more after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
Power 106 FM, the digital sound, now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us on 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band. You can also listen to us on the Power 106 FM app, which you can download on the Google Play Store or the App Store. Plus, listen to us on onespotmedia.com and the One Spot Media app, or log on to go-jamaica.com. Power 106 FM, where all views can contend, giving you powerful talk radio in so many ways, on air and online.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. So we have someone holding on the other side. What's the time over there? 5 minutes? Okay, so let's see. On this side, this person has been holding for 13 minutes. So we'll take this one right now. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Councillor. How you doing?
Good afternoon. Who?
Councillor, I understand I nominated today to run as councillor for the Crossroad here. That's true?
I think maybe that's something you forgot that you did today.
Okay. Just to learn that. You know, I heard, I think his name is Richard Cray, he's the General Secretary for the Jamaica Labour Party. He make it clear on the news this morning that Manchester, St. Thomas, and St. Catherine belong to them. Now, I like a man of high hopes, but at the same time, I don't hear my stellar product, I hear my demand something, and I don't want him head up like Mitt Romney and Barack Obama. Mitt Romney was deeply disappointed when the election went. So I wish him hope at the poll. All right, the question to you now, what's the role of an ombudsman?
To adjudicate on issues involving representatives of political parties.
So, whoever happen to be the ombudsman, they don't have no power of arrest or prosecution. So when a party misbehave or something go wrong, they can make that thing come into play.
Yeah, they pretty much had a system. Well, I don't know if they still have it. Maybe they still do, except that there's nobody. They need someone in the office to occupy the office. But what they used moral suasion generally out of that office. Moral suasion. So they talk to you, reason with you, and point out to you where you got it wrong or right or otherwise, and ask that you please just do the best you can in not taking Jamaica's name, not causing Jamaica's name to be in disrepute.
Yeah, but someone come to me that a waste of time, Jamaican people, especially people in authority, if there's no consequence for their behavior, it means not to them. Talk alone, that means not to them.
Well, if they in an ill-advised way go outside of that, then they'll have to deal with what comes with that.
Yeah, but if you give the ombudsman a role to play to settle whatever differences between the two parties when them go there, and you don't give him no power. You need to, if you notice, when the police and him they come, when Mr. Williams was there, you see the major changes with the police and the people. Well, that's what they need to do with the ombudsman. Give him some power, and when they give him the power, you see some behavior done. That man when you come talk, you just listen when you say, because if I don't talk, you go about your business and you go about your business.
I hear you.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he needs some power, man. So, but I think I said the office vacant right now. So, who was the last ombudsman?
Donna Parchment Brown.
No, that's a woman.
Yes.
Yeah, we say ombudsman.
Yeah, that's the title. And you can say ombuds. You can also say ombudsperson if that will make you feel better. And you could very well say ombudswoman as well.
Yeah, you can't call it ombudsman, you have a woman.
No. That's something that is done. It's like what we always say. Man must be protected from himself. Left to himself, man is perhaps the most destructive creature on the face of the earth. Now, I said man, but that's used in its generic sense, which takes in everybody, humankind.
Okay. So, we have election in the here right now, and the office is still vacant.
Yes.
So, but I hear some people are calling for someone to act in interim till them appoint somebody. So what taking them so long, I probably don't see necessary.
Well, it has been subsumed in the office of the electoral advisory council.
Yeah, but them so busy enough to get things in place, so why you place that responsibility on them? I don't get a picture there.
It apparently there's a discussion about some previous consultations that were held, and that both parties agreed on that particular decision, which has now taken shape and is operational.
Yeah, but Mr. Malcolm, somebody I saw them one, I can't let now. And tell for them one less. Now, these people from the electoral people, they have so much thing to put in place and make sure everything all right before election come. Why you would give them that responsibility now when you know say things delicate right now?
Well, they're very well paid, extremely well paid.
Yeah, but in whose interest, why you give them that responsibility?
In the interest of continuity, they say.
No, man, in the interest of a politician, man. When a prime minister, party, regular politician, or council, whatever. Because you want somebody independent. You don't want somebody say, right, appoint you, the prime minister appoint you, or whatever appoint you. You put him there, and him not acting nobody's interest. Him acting the interest of the country, and make sure things go right.
I would like to think that the members of the Electoral Advisory Committee are better than that. And I have no reason to believe otherwise.
No, you see, if I appoint you, you're not going to divulge certain things, but we know it's working.
No, you don't have to wait for anything to be divulged. It will come out in your actions. And I'm saying these notable Jamaicans have not given me any reason to worry or to fret about doing their work. They do a remarkable job with the Electoral Advisory Committee and associated entities. And up to this point, we have no reason to doubt their sincerity and their professionalism and so on and so forth.
And it's 26 outside 28. Now when the dust clear, we don't want, we're not going to hear anybody accuse anybody of anything. Hello?
I don't use a crystal ball, so I'm not sure. I don't think that question was meant for me.
Okay. All right, so we'll see it record. One last thing before we go.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it when people migrate, they say they need police record? Why don't you use soldier record?
The police are part of the security services like the soldiers. There's no, I mean, there's no subject there. There's no issue there.
Okay, because it's total part of the security system. And I always hear them request one time.
Yeah, it's just anything. It's just like people asking for a gleaner as opposed to a newspaper, or asking for a newspaper instead of a gleaner.
Okay, so in closing now, when the 26 come and gone, or 28, I can call and congratulate you on your victory.
Wrong person.
All right, Pastor, you're alone, uncle.
All right, thanks for the call. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. What's happening here? Hello. Hello, this is Both Sides of the Story, Power 106. All right, let's move on. 876-922-4112-5. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. All right, not sure what's happening here or not happening. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Sir Dervan. Hello?
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It sounds like you have to lose that radio in the background, please.
Yeah. Look, turn off the radio for me. Look, turn off it. Yeah, sorry about that, sir. Turn it off. Yeah, Sir Dervan. Sorry, sir. Yeah, man. I just calling you to say, Mr. Dervan, about the destruction the other day going Antigua and Ochi there. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening.
Yes, I don't remember if I was telling you about the danger that we face in the coastal town of Jamaica here. You know, and the Bible said is a fool build his house and a in the sun. So I always observed versus they put his massive building against the shoreline. You know, so I always observe why they are doing it, because they necessarily within global warming, our sea rising, you know. So I think so if we have sense, we follow the Bible. Because so many high land you have here, the bush and all these things where they could build. They mostly want to have up on the seafront. Hello?
Yes.
Hello,
I'm listening.
Yes, so what do you have to say about that? What do you have to say about it?
Well, the Bible put it quite succinctly a long time ago, or it was put in the Bible. And the words haven't changed at all. Wise man builds his house upon the rock, and you can finish the rest of it.
So the flood come, the wind blow, And that house was still standing, but the one that built the house and his son, he said the rain come and wind blow and it was a fell of it. So it seems as if the people today, they don't have much sense, and I don't know. They have the word of God there to guide them, but I don't know. Them decide to do their own thing. They're wiser than God. They don't know. Mr. Dervan,
Hold a moment, please. One moment. One moment, please.
You're listening to Pearl 106 FM. The time is now
4:30.
Tune in every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. for your legal corner with Dana Walker Huntington, doing both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106 FM. It's your source of information regarding U.S. immigration matters, combined with Power 106 FM's pioneer of diaspora broadcasting. Call in with your U.S. immigration queries and concerns on 876-922-41125. Or send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598 and get the answers you need for your immigration questions. That's your legal corner with Dana Walker Huntington at 3:30 p.m. during both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm, only on Power 106 FM.
29 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Good afternoon to all the students listening to us, all the schoolers from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. And parents and guardians, do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thanks for holding. Please continue.
Yes, sir, Dervan. Yes, sir. You hear me, sir?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Yes, sir. Before we go to the next subject, I was thinking, Mr. Dervan, why you don't try run as a member of parliament or something?
Don't think you have listened to me long enough to realize that that question would remain redundant.
I mean, Mr. Dervan, I mean two party, I mean independent, you know. Two party will next step, independent, you know.
This country has had, I think, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, this country has had about 33, either 32 or 33 third parties. And
the time is the right time now, Mr. Dervan, I'm telling you. It's the right time now, Pete. I tell you, sir. It's the time now. We got people together. Rescue the country, because we are rescue. But Mr. Dervan, yes, sir.
Sorry, the connection has connection.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello.
I was hearing the line started to deteriorate, so it has corrected itself. Yes, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was saying too, sir. Based on the Jamaicans and the condition of the place that the people live beside the sea, the town them, that they should be careful because we don't know when the country is so wicked
And we don't know when the earthquake will come, a great one, and the tsunami. So I just call to tell the people to be careful because the country wicked. And if you look now and listen, all over the Caribbean the other day, they just the earthquake having 4 point and all these things. So I just wanted to drop that in. So, Mr. Dervan, yesterday, the elections with down here at Porus here. They were looking at it, so they neglect Porus. I tell that the market now is as a garbage dump returning, and I think I neglect Porus. And when you got Mandeville, a lot of development, but here in Porus, the councillor now, she probably trying to do something, but when you go around where she live, they will say bad roads are the condition of the people, them, it's really bad. I hear that Mr. Bunting now planning to come to this section, but I will not vote, but probably they give him a chance. But I don't believe in the things he are in the Labour, right? But if they give Mr. Bunting a chance, maybe for us, we get the benefit now, because probably through him and Mr. Golden, our friend. Because for us really neglect, sorry, gone bad, Mr. Dervan. God, we tell you, say, gone bad. And then they divert the traffic out of the town now, and the business people, them, you can see them now, this is like first time, so I think they have to try to do something to for us. Yes, sir. So, Mr. Dervan, you take care, sir.
All right. Thank you for the call.
Care.
You too.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Clearing a few more messages. Let's see what we have here. Ray says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. What I would like to see when it's election time, everyone stay home and go to the polls on the day. I never see people driving and riding all over the place in large groups in London whenever election time. Another message. Hello, Dervan. I hate to belabor the point and give Mac any oxygen, but I have to comment on his call yesterday about what Jamaica needs to do about gun training, etc. I agree with the training he suggested and with responsible gun ownership, but found him disingenuous when he implied that things are so different and better in Florida. What nonsense. His governor signed a bill into law in April of 2023 where there is open carry and no need for proof of training or background check to purchase a gun in the state. Plus, Florida Stand Your Ground law grants an open license to kill, especially if the victim is a minority. Shame on him for trying to make Jamaica seem backward in this regard. Barry has sent us a link, which we haven't been able to check. So we'll have to hold that one. This one from Rover TT saying, good afternoon, Dervan. The preceding youth forum was generally spirited, useful, and hopefully instructive for all the political parties in Jamaica. However, the moderator at times asked leading questions or had retorts or failed to respond to some comments that demonstrated, I think, a bias towards the JLP. The last male guest, however, held his own in stellar fashion. Unfortunately, that's where the discourse strangely and abruptly ended. And this is from RT in Florida. Thank you for your message, RT in Florida. Let's see. Mikey Morris says, I'm listening to the political I think he's referring to the political forum about the party PNP and JLP. And he says, today's nomination day, let's see on the 26th who will take over Gordon House. Well, I think you have it a little, you have it a little mixed up there in a sense. Remember, this is local government election. So this is for the municipal corporations and the municipal corporations and Kingston and St. Andrew, the municipal corporation there as well. So this election is meant for the councillors involved in local government. So hope you got that, Mikey Morris. Thank you very much for your message. Let's see. Errol says thank you. He had asked about yesterday's poem, and he got the information now. We're happy for you. Thank you very much. 876-922-4112-5 are the numbers to call. 876-922-4112-5. Text line 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. So let's keep it going here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, on Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. And somebody has legal matters here. You can listen out and look out in the press for further information in that regard. We'll have a read. We'll have a read in a little while from now to see what this is about. Thank you very much for sharing. As we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. And let's see if we can give you another update, although I'm sure we will get everything coming up in the major news at 5. But let's see what else the Gleaner team has captured of the day's proceedings. Hilton says PNP comfortable in St. Andrew Western. That's one of the stories. Fully fit PNP rep in Westmoreland back on the road after hospitalization. Former MP Julian Silvera again remanded. Ian Miles says future bright following switch to the JLP. CMU fraud accused Kim Brown Lawrence defends stewardship and Brownstown Division nomination. JLP's Dean Jones offers no comment on gun incident as he is nominated. And Eric Wint goes independent for Martha Bray Division. Those are some of the stories coming up in major news at 5. In the meantime, let's stand by for our next break right here on Both Sides of the Story.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
All you'll ever need to know about agriculture in the 21st century, packed into one program. Farm Talk with Alfie McKenzie. Farm Talk, showcasing cutting-edge agricultural products, services, and practices. Farm Talk, keeping focus on issues affecting the farming community. Farm Talk, stimulating discourse to propel agriculture as a national tool for development. Farm Talk with Alfie McKenzie, the farmer's best friend.
When I listen to you in the mornings and the way you interview the people so that us as farmers can really understand, you break it down. It's really powerful.
Wake up to Farm Talk, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
I pledge my heart this island as God that it shall lead. My right, my strength, my love, and my loyalty to give. Oh, free, I love the evenings, Jamaica strong and free. Our vows and loyal promises, wars and tears to give. I pledge my heart this island as God it shall lead.
13 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? We're still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And let's see, there's a bit of information here. Bit of information to share. A couple of milestones in our history. 1952, the Caribbean Cement Company commences commercial production and the first bags of cement made in Jamaica, each weighing 94 pounds, are bagged for distribution and sale at 10 and 7 per bag. The cement is made from clay in the Kingston Harbor and the limestone and gypsum mined in the Long Mountain Range. Let's see, we have more for you. Just a moment. This one. Alvin Marriott, who had been commissioned to carve a statue of a running athlete in honor of Jamaica's famous 4 Helsinki athletes, Arthur Wint, George Roden, Herb McKinley, and Les Leng, left Jamaica for London, where he would do the work. The statue was mounted in front of the new National Stadium, and the statue is still there. statue is still very much in place. And let's see. All right, let's come down the line here. I tell you what, we'll come back to the archives in just a moment. We'll come back to the archives in a moment. In the meantime, let's continue with more here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. And still taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5. 876-922-4112 to 5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Let's see what we have here. Kevin Galloway is calling us. Let's hear what he has to say. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good afternoon, Ambassador Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
How are you, sir?
I am fine, thanks. And you?
Well, I'm not too bad. Yes, giving God thanks for the times and seasons pressing towards the goal, and just wishing you and a lot of my friends, I love to say saints in general, a very pleasant and happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Same to you.
And yes, thank you very much too, sir. Just looking forward to meeting in person again. It's been a while. I haven't catch up with you. The last time I saw you, you were at Algo Grace here in St. Elizabeth at the SDA Center.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And yes, enjoy the moment. I really wanted to introduce myself, me and Miss Clover team, but we were so we didn't introduce ourselves together. But just want to wish you all the best, and you know, everyone. This is Mr. Kevin Galloway, just here reaching out. I'm very busy at home in my space, and yeah, just looking for.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here. The feed seems to be giving some trouble.
Yes, the connection.
Yes. So I just want to thank you for your blessings and all your efforts in reaching out, and yes, just glorifying God in your space. So thank you very much in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you very much for the call.
Yes, I'll give you a call because I know that it's almost time out. So what? It's almost 5 o'clock. So yeah, the start I give you a key call at this time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, I'll give you a next call again some other time again.
Please do.
Yeah, man, you take care.
You too. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Still